It's hard and cruel times to live. Takes $30 to buy a sieve. To buy sieves and other things too. To go through the world, how can we do? As this anonymous poem reminds us, while men fought on the front lines, women too endured hardship during the American War of Independence. However, they were not passive bystanders to history. This is the story of women and the Revolutionary War. The war led to long periods of separation from fathers, sons and husbands, during which women had to endure financial hardship and the risk of destitution. Some women bore these difficulties in silence, but others chose to petition the authorities, particularly over the issue of soldiers' pay. 4 months' pay of a private will not procure his wretched wife and children a single bushel of wheat, one soldier indignantly proclaimed. One woman took her grievances directly to Congress after her husband failed to receive pay for 4 whole years, making it impossible to support herself and their 3 children. Unable to rely on their husband's pay to support their families, some women took paid employment. The textile industry was one area where women increasingly found work during the war. One of the largest textile enterprises was based in Philadelphia, at a factory which installed a spinning jenny and employed around 400 women. In order to boost wartime production, women were encouraged to cease trifling their time away and prudently employ it in learning the use of the spinning wheel. Outside of the textile industry, opportunities for paid employment were limited. One woman took over a large tanning business following the death of her husband, and another was employed as a jailer in Isle of Wight County, Virginia. Faced with food shortages, some women took matters into their own hands. In East Hartford, a group of 20 women marched to Mr. Perkins' store, which was about a mile away. There they took 218 pounds of sugar from a supply which had been sequestered for the army. When an unknown man joined their ranks, he was attacked and driven away by the women, who thought he was the proprietor of the shop. Other women, often soldiers' wives, became camp followers, supporting the army through nursing, laundry, sewing, tending to cattle and guarding baggage. As part of the army, these women were subject to its rules and regulations. They had to have an officer's approval to accompany the unit, typically their husbands, and they were subject to martial law. They also received army rations and were paid. One woman, not content to just follow the army, took to the battlefield. Deborah Sampson enlisted and joined the army, fighting under the name of Robert Shirtleff in several skirmishes. During her first battle on the 3rd of July 1782 outside Tarrytown, New York, she took 2 musket balls in her thigh and received a cut to her forehead. She begged her fellow soldiers to let her die and not to take her to a doctor, but a soldier put her on his horse and took her to a hospital. The doctors treated her head wound, but she left the hospital before they could attend to her leg. Fearful that her identity would be discovered, she removed one of the musket balls herself with a penknife and sewing needle. But the other one was too deep for her to reach. Her leg never fully healed. From petitioning and paid employment to crime and individual acts of battlefield bravery, women were not passive bystanders to the American War of Independence. They lobbied Congress for soldiers to be paid. They increasingly took up employment in towns and cities. They supported the army and in one case at least took a bullet for the cause.